Welcome one and all to the ancient journey. On today's journey, the Overtoun Bridge. But before we get started, don't forget, if you enjoy the video, please give us a like and a share, and if you're into our content, please check out the rest of the channel and subscribe. It helps grow the channel and it keeps us producing these videos. James White is the co-owner of the J&J White Chemical Works in Rutherglen, Scotland. Also referred to as the Shawfield Chemical Works, the plant was established in 1820 by James and his brother John. The chemical plant is a large producer of chromate, a product used in paints and metal plating. White is enriched from his ownership and also from his previous ventures in life. In 1859, he buys a farm in Overtoun with the intention of building a mansion there. White hires the Glasgow-based architect James Smith to design and build the structure. Smith is grateful for the work and for something to keep his mind off his personal life. Smith's daughter, Madeline Smith, was accused of poisoning her lover with arsenic in 1857. She is not convicted. White eventually acquires 2,000 acres of land, has the farmhouse on the land demolished, and construction on the mansion begins. Architect Smith dies before the work is completed, but the White family takes residence in the mansion in 1862. By 1884, James White has died, and his son John moves into the estate in 1891. John wants the house to be larger and comes to an agreement with the neighboring landowner to acquire additional grounds. The estate land is split by a waterfall, and a road is built to cross its river. The bridge spanning this gap is known as the Overtoun Bridge. But by 1893, some disturbing information has come to light about the J&J White Chemical Works. Workers at the site began to organize and were finally being heard. The conditions at the plant were slowly killing them. A byproduct of the production of chromate is potash of chrome, which burns the skin, eyes, and respiratory system. The workers in the plant spend 12 hours per day and 7 days per week working. They are given no breaks for food, so any food they eat has been carried in with them and is also contaminated with potash. Safety regulations and cries for reduced hours had been ignored. Workers were exposed to this dust at all times. The effect on the workers is horrific. Lung cancer, digestive disorders, and skin diseases were common long-term effects. But one horrific condition is most noticeable: the perforation of the septum in the noses of the workers. The dust actually eats a hole in the skin that separates the nostrils. The workers come to be known as White's Canaries because of the yellow covering of dust they constantly wore, and also known as White's Whistlers, from the noise the men make while breathing. When you have a hole in your septum, your breathing creates a whistling noise. The workers organize a strike, but White, far from the dust and the dangers of the plant, claims that if the men weren't at work, they would only be spending more time in the pubs. He also states that the White family simply couldn't afford to make changes to the safety and the shifts in the plant. White makes this claim from his 2,000-acre estate. His cousin and fellow boss at the plant, James William Crystal, purchases a country estate as well, and also agrees. They just don't have any money. Perhaps the oddest of the hypocrisies in this story is that John White is an evangelic Christian who abstains from alcohol and campaigns elsewhere for people to avoid work on Sundays, but not the workers in his chemical plant. If his workers take time off to go to church, they lose wages and are punished. Eventually, the pressure gets to the Whites, and they attempt to improve working conditions. But to this day, there are massive environmental concerns and cleanups at numerous locations where the chemical plant stored its waste. White dies childless in 1908, and his nephew, Dr. Douglas White, assumes control of the estate. In 1938, the Overtoun house is donated to the people of Dunbarton. It is turned into a maternity hospital and a convalescent home for World War II veterans. The grounds begin to fall into disrepair as various religious groups move in and out through the years. The Overtoun House is used in a few films and music videos as well, and it's currently listed to operate as a tourist attraction, bed and breakfast, youth activity center, and an accommodation for women. But something else troubling has plagued the Overtoun House, and more specifically, the Overtoun Bridge, since the 1950s. Visitors who cross the Overtoun Bridge while walking their dogs report a terrifying event. Their dogs, for unknown reasons, begin to leap from the bridge to their deaths. In the 1950s, the Overtoun Bridge gains the nickname the Dog Suicide Bridge from locals. Over the years, at least 50 dogs survived the fall. Over 600 have jumped in total. Those who experience the event state the dogs begin to stare at something over the bridge, become agitated, then bolt at full speed and jump over the edge. In 2005, 5 dogs jump off the bridge in just a 6-month time period. Owners of the dogs claim that the dogs act completely out of character before they jump. The current owners of the house, Bob and Melissa Hill, state that they had witnessed a number of dogs become agitated, jump, and fall from the bridge. There are some reports that a few of these canines leap from the bridge and survive, only to try the jump again the very next time they're on the bridge. The Scottish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals investigated the matter, trying to figure out why these dogs were jumping, but came up with no answers. Canine psychologists and biologists have theorized that the surrounding foliage gives the impression that there is no drop from the bridge's edge. They have also guessed the dogs are seeing or smelling something that draws their attention. Thinking that they are on level ground, the dogs jump to explore the sight or the smell. But if that's the case, then why only this bridge? It's certainly not the only bridge with those sorts of conditions. Is this biology, or is this something more mysterious? People visiting the bridge have described an uneasy feeling, where their stomach flips, the air feels thin, and their senses, according to one visitor, are on fire. Could paranormal activity be to blame, and if so, are the dogs sensitive to it? Local legends abound about the White Lady of Overtoun, the ghost of the grieving widow of John White. It is said she haunts the grounds. Or could it be that the dogs are hearing something, calling to them, perhaps whistling to them, or maybe hundreds of people whistling to them? Could White's old factory workers be haunting the grounds, their whistling breaths calling to the dogs? The cause of the dogs jumping remains a mystery to this day. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing the journey.